the sunlight. I don't know what's on the way. Take time just to do it right. You can't stop the light.
Don't cry.
Well, hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody is having a great day. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm having some strange audio issues. Just let me know if you can hear me. All right. Let's see. Just a quick test here. All right. Let's see. Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you all. It's that moment of fear when you're like, oh, can everybody hear me? So, okay, well, hey, happy Memorial Day weekend to my friends in the United States. Happy final, well, this is technically the penultimate Beast Mode month stuff. So this is our last technically our last special Beast Mode Power Hour. However, we do have a Power Hour next month because it is the first week in June. So we can continue on the Beast Mode train until next week. So all good stuff. So let's see who we have in the house here today. We've got Lou in the house. Hello. And Kevin Doige, hope I said your name correctly. And I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll say good afternoon to you too. Always good to see some Welsh representation in here. And Shanna, good morning. Good morning. Cynthia is in the house. Blessed or Messy. Dahigi is here. Jocelyn. Marnie. Hello, Marnie. And Dina, the knitting author, new here. Hello. Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. I'll talk about how the Power Hours work here in a moment for all of our new folks. And Now Heart, coffee in hand, have written already and shop for some Saturday candy. Saturday candy actually sounds really good. Life is good. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, Saturday candy. I love it. Yeah. We've got a farmer's market here in Des Moines, Iowa, where I live. And I'm thinking that would actually be kind of cool to go get some candy there. All right. Now Heart. It's actually a direct translation of Saturday candy. Okay. Awesome. And SD Houston is here. Hello, SD. Good to see you. FW. And sending good vibes out to everybody. Good morning, all. Hope the day finds you well and vibrant for life. Very good. And SD is working on a speaker packet to give to all the speakers of this year's AuthorTube Writing Conference. Awesome. And Shannon, is the link to the AuthorTube conference the same? If it is, let me know, and I'll drop it in the chat for people who are interested. So SD runs a great YouTube conference called AuthorTube Conference every year. I spoke at it, I think a couple years ago, and I highly recommend it. So love to spread the signal on that as much as I can. Okay, plans by Chan. Got my lemon ginger tea and my thoughts today, brainstorming a new story idea. Wasn't feeling the last one I had at the start of May, so back to the drawing board. All right, well, hey, good stuff. And Dina working on the final edits of my novel. And Lou working on the same as every other time. Don't know how to call it, except now I'm feeling like the plot might be moving forward. Awesome. And Dahigi got just a little bit of editing to do, just a little bit. Well, we'll let you do a little bit of editing because you've been killing it on the word count. So it's all good. We'll let you slide today. And Shri Nation, good evening from India. Today's research day. This is a good day for research. I don't know about you guys, but the weather here is actually really nice. This is one of those days where beast mode really is challenging. Let's just put it that way. And Marnie says, I love seeing people from around the world. And I'm writing the climax of my 6th novel, more like riding a bucking bronco than riding. Yeah. Every novel feels like that at some point, for sure. And Deb is here working on Work in Progress, Drinking Tea. Cynthia's working on chapter 20 of her novel. Leidy's working on 3rd novel, which she started on May 10th and 25,000 words down. Very nice. Very nice. And it is 6 p.m. in Turkey. And Greblock's drinking tea and working on my urban fantasy novel. Awesome. Okay. And I put a comment in here as well. We'll see if I'm on my best behavior today. I did update the Discord link. And if for those of you who are not on the Discord, feel free to join me. I haven't been in the group that much this week, but I've been loving all the comments and the support you guys have been showing. So awesome. And I did remind everybody in the Discord that we had the Power Hour today. So maybe that made a difference in the number of attendees. Like I said, I was on my best behavior this week. All right. So we'll see if it actually works. And Ty is here. Good morning, Ty. And Lou says, here's a tip if you're having trouble joining the Discord. Try on a mobile device. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you for confirming that I'm not the one that's crazy, because I click that little box every time that says, don't let this link expire, and it still expires. It's just shame. Just shameful. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Lou, I gotta throw this one on here. Been listening to some of my new vinyl records this morning. Awesome. Yeah. I love how vinyl's making a comeback. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, okay. So SD, let's see. I'm just going to grab the link to that, because if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. So, well, actually, I'm going to grab it on our first break. I thought I could grab it, but my Google's being silly. So, okay, I will be sure to share it at our next break. I also want to let everybody know before we get started. So I said you would definitely want to join this power hour today. And the reason for that is because you guys have been doing so great that I want to give away some prizes. So I am going to drop a link to a Google form. You guys can go in, fill out your information. And here are some of the prizes that I'm giving away. All right. So you can pick which ones you're interested in, and then I'll do a raffle at the end of the month. So on or about June 1st, I'll let everybody know right away. And it's just my thank you to you guys for participating this month. And I'm just a big fan of, rewards and you do something great in your writing career. It doesn't always get noticed. And I just want to try to do something for you guys. So one of the first thing I'm giving away is 45 minutes consulting with me. I'm just giving away one session. So if any of you guys want to sit down with me and pick your brain, I'd be happy to do that. And we can find a time that's mutually good for you. And a lot of people ask me about this after my Kickstarter, whereas with my Kickstarter, I think I offered a couple of sessions to folks. So I'm doing this for one person. Don't typically do this, but if you want to sit down with me, I'll be able to do that. And then I'm also giving away a lifetime license for Atticus. That's the formatting software. So I know you guys have to format your books, right? So you've spent all this time writing your books. You're going to have to format it. And so if you've been looking for a formatting solution, I'm giving away a lifetime license for Atticus. And you get Atticus and you get it for life. All right. And then I'm also giving away a 1-year gift membership to the Alliance of Independent Authors, Ally. So Ally is a nonprofit organization for writers, for indie writers, by indie writers. And they have a ton of benefits for paid members. And so a couple of those are deals and discounts. So you can get discounts on Ingram Spark because Ingram Spark charges you for revisions. Ally members get free revisions up to 5 per month. And there's a lot of other benefits that Ally offers. And I'm willing to pay for your first year of membership. So that's really, really cool. So you guys know I'm big on Ally. Work with them, and they do a lot of really good work. I'm also giving away my productivity pack. So I've got a couple of books on productivity: Be a Writing Machine, Be a Writing Machine 2, The Pocket Guide to Pantsing. I'm giving those away, and you'll get the ebook and the audio version of all of those books to help you with your productivity long after beast mode is done. And for those of you, I've done lots of videos on Scrivener. I'm giving away 2 copies of Scrivener. So you can choose whether you want the Windows version or the Mac version. If you've wanted Scrivener and haven't been able to try it just because of the monetary investment, I got you covered. So if you're interested in that, you can check that off as well. So where do you enter this survey, you ask? Okay, you can enter it in, we'll see if this works, the moment of truth, authorlevelup.com/roar. So authorlevelup.com/roar. Roar. Now I can't say the word. I'm going to sound silly. Okay. authorlevelup.com/roar. And you can enter the survey and you should be good to go. So you just have to enter your name and enter your email and then which prizes that you want. All right. So I'll put that up later on as well. Okay. So somebody told me it opened. Awesome. Okay. So let us see here. All right. I'm just going through the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Okay. So those are the prizes. I'll throw it up again before the end of the stream. But like I said, you guys have been doing amazing. This has been so fun to watch. Like all you guys just killing it every day. And, even if you're not writing a lot, you're still showing up. Right. And for those of you who aren't even writing, you're still showing up and doing amazing things. So awesome. All right. So with that, let's see here. I think we need to jump into the first session. So for those of you who are new, I got a couple of new folks here. Some of the new folks, what we do is we have writing sessions and writing sprints, writing sessions. All right. So I'm going to put a timer up for 20 minutes. All right. And at the end of that 20 minutes, we're going to come back to, during the 20 minutes, we write and just have fun and, get into flow, work on whatever you want to work on. At the end of the 20 minutes, we come together. I answer any questions you guys have. We celebrate our victories. And then we do this 3 times. And then at the end of the stream, I stay on until I've answered all of your guys' questions. All right. So that's how it works. So if somebody comes on and says, what's going on here? Why is there no action? Now you got me covered in the comments. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and get the time on the whatchamacallit, the screen. So let's go. Good luck, everybody. Okay, let's see how everybody did here. So, all right, first session is in the books, gang. Let's see. So let me just glance through everything. I'm just saw quite a few comments here. Let's see. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I was just spacing out here. I saw a ton of comments, and I just wanted to see what was going on. So okay. So let me know what's happening in your word counts. So how did you do for the session? Did things? How did you do? How are you feeling? All right, because you guys know you could probably take a shot every time I say it. When you feel good, the words are good. All right. So let's see how everybody's doing. But first, we had a question from Nowhart. I remember reading in Dean Wesley Smith's Writing into the Dark how writers hate practice, how to convince people, especially yourself, that not every word has to be perfect. Yeah. This is Dean makes this point a lot, and I think he uses the analogy of, writers want to be best-selling authors on day one, but if you go to law school, you can't be a lawyer on day one. You've got to go to law school. You've got to put your 3 years of law school in, and then you've got to, work your way up at a firm or start, in a lowly job, and it takes a minute before you can actually become a successful practicing lawyer. It's the same thing with musicians. Musicians don't start off, being virtuosos at the first time they sit down at the keyboard. So why do writers think that they can sit down and crush it when they write their first book? I think it's a valid point. So you got to put your time in, you got to pay your dues, and then a lot of people don't like to hear those terms, pay your dues and all that. But there is a certain amount of practice that you have to do. And how we are unique is that we can sell our practice sessions, right? Dean talks about that all the time. We're the only profession in the world where we can sell our practice sessions. Maybe musicians kind of can, but they don't really think about it like that. But writers can. I can write a short story and go off and submit it to magazines and get paid when a magazine accepts my work. I can publish my first book, and people around the world will pay me for it. Now, whether they like it or not, I have no idea. But at least somebody I hope will like it. And so, how do you convince yourself? Well, I always like to remind myself that, like, when I'm reading books, like, how easy writing is. Well, I shouldn't say easy, but how simple it is, right? Like, it really is so simple, so simple. Like, you write a chapter, you finish that chapter, and in that chapter, a character does something happens as a result of the character doing something, the character does something again. chapter ends. You write the next chapter. I mean, if you really reduce writing down into the basic building blocks, it's kind of amazing how simple it is. And I have to keep reminding myself of that when I write, because I often forget that. And when I try to remember that, then it's like, okay, all I have to do is snap these little Legos together, and it just makes it so much easier. So I don't know if that helps now, Hart, but you put that thought in your head, maybe that'll work. Okay. Now Hart says, I just reached 10K on my passion project. Awesome. Queen Alina fan, little more fantasy writing today, but I have to run at 12ish. All right. And let's see. Oh, Dina says Atticus was the best money ever spent. Yeah, I love Atticus. Atticus is great. It's such a great solution. They're still building a lot of things with it. I mean, it's pretty close in terms of feature parity with Vellum, but it's such a great innovation and solution for people that don't have Macs, right? And for people that do have Macs. Okay, let's see. Oh, Blester Messi, hit the like for prizes. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay, and now Hart says, I've just bought Be a Writing Machine 2. Phenomenal. Won't spoil it. Well, thank you. Okay. And let us see here. Oh, Travis says, I cannot pronounce roar either. This is from the last session. Yeah. When I speak really quickly, I tend to slur my words together. Okay. Let's see how everybody's doing here. Oh, now Hart sharing a quote. Yep. So this is from Michael Jordan, I believe. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games, 26 times. I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over again. That is why I succeed. Well done. Now Hart, if you guys don't know, Now Hart always posts amazing quotes in the Discord. So Now Hart is the master of quotes. So thank you for sharing that. And let's see. Yeah, Queen Alina fan says, also the idea that the master has failed more times than the amateur has even tried. Yeah, I love that. Another term I like, I forget who said it, that a master is somebody who has forgotten more than the amateur has learned. That's a paraphrase, of course. And continuing on, I think in some ways we get deluded into thinking writing is something everyone can do because we learn how to write in school, but we don't learn creative writing in most classes. No, yeah, that's fair. And so we think we've done a lot of learning when we have just started up the steps. I know I struggled with that in my early 20s. Yeah. Well, and the problem too is that when you're that young and you're in school, you think that the steps are the universe, and you don't really realize that the steps are just steps, and you have no idea where it goes to. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I see the great conversation going on between Now Hart and Queen Alina fan. Let's see. And let's see. Queen Alina fan, unproductive, but then I changed projects, 176. Okay. And Lighty, 287. Ty, 215. Now Hart, 268. Cynthia, 177. Dahigi, negative 228. Like I said, we'll let you slide today. And Lou, 110. Marnie, 9. SD, progress on the speaker packet. Nice. And Queen Alina fan is feeling good since I haven't touched this second project in months and feeling like I'm back in the flow. Wow. Okay, there's so many comments. I can't get through all of these, but I'm seeing you guys. I see all of it. Awesome. Okay. Marnie says revising is sometimes like trying to get the knots out of wet, tangled hair with a spoon. Yeah, just turn the spoon around and use the handle. Sometimes maybe that'll help. All right. So, okay. Well, let's jump into our second session, gang, and we will go ahead and regroup in another 20 minutes. All right. So good luck, everybody. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I was trying to grab a link because I promised Shannon I would share it. So the AuthorTube Writing Conference, typing it in here. I'm just sharing a link to that for anybody who wants to go visit and learn more about the conference that ST Houston is putting together. So I put that in the chat. I'll also throw it on the screen here for a hot minute. AuthorTubeWritingConference.com. Okay, let me know how you guys did during this session. Okay, let's see. Deb says, I went down a rabbit hole with research on an old train station. Yep, that happens to us all. And FW, I have two good beginnings of a book, and I'm not sure which one I want the readers to read first. But one is prologue and works. One is way gets you down, and the other brings you up. I guess it depends on how you're feeling. Do you want to bring people down or pick them up? I don't know. That's a tough decision. Yeah, FW says I go back and forth. Yeah. Looking for input. It's like a chicken or egg dilemma. Well, okay. So if you want me to make an opinion on which one I would do, what do your readers expect? And don't tell me this is your first book, because if it's your first book, then this makes it an impossible question to answer. But if you've written something in the past, what do readers typically expect? Do they expect to be brought down, or do they expect to be brought up? And use that as your guide, as what you do first. Then do the other one. I mean, I would still recommend you do them both, but in terms of which one you release first. Okay, so I gave you an answer on that. You tell me if that helped at all. Okay. Oh, Queen Alina fan, heading out. Well, thank you. Thanks for stopping by. And Jack says, oops, I meant for this to be my first live power hour, but was busy writing with a Pomodoro timer. Yeah, you are not the first person that said that. So that is okay. Somebody last week said that they missed the power hour because they were so busy writing. So I love to hear that. So I'm glad you stopped by. All right. FW, is it qubit or qubit? That is the question. I have no opinion on that one. Now, Hart, 91 words, felt really well. Awesome. And SD, more progress on the speaker packet. And cool. And Ty got 128 words, feeling good. Marnie, a few more knots untangled with that spoon. And Lighty, 141 this time, not as much as the last session, but overall, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. And Jonathan, another text ad started. Nicely done. And Lou, still working, be there shortly. Okay. And let's see, Dina says, made progress, slow, but I like how it's going. Oh, Jonathan says, test ad, not text ad. That's okay. Okay, I'm following you. All right. Well, it looks like everybody's doing great. This is awesome. And let's see. Do I have anything else in the comments? I'm not seeing it. So why don't we? Okay. So FW, I'm interested in the conference. Yeah. So yeah, definitely check out that link. I'll throw it on the screen again. AuthorTube Writing Conference. And if I remember correctly, this is all on YouTube, which is really nice. So SD, tell me if that changed. But yeah. So anyway, I'll leave that on the screen here for another second. And Cynthia says 127. That session, feeling much better. All right. Roland, I had to turn off my Pomodoro timer and just wing it so I wouldn't miss the power hour. Now, Roland, you're the second person that has said that today, and not the first person that has said that either. So I hope you're making progress. All right. Yes. Okay. So the AuthorTube Writing Conference is all on YouTube. So FW, another really good reason to do it. A good reason to check it out. All right. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump on our third session here. Final session coming into the home stretch. Let's do it.
Hey baby, it's me. I was just calling to chat with you a little bit. I miss you a lot. And I miss hearing your voice. Bye, hon. And I miss hearing your voice.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Okay. Well, hey, we did it. We got to the end and the bottom of another Power Hour. Okay. So let me know how you did. And I would say this, let me know how you did, how you're feeling, and then what's your goal for the weekend. Okay. Let's see. Okay. While we're waiting for that, we had a question come in from Marnie. Michael, how do you approach fixing a section? Could even be several chapters. That's a mess. With a painting, it's so much easier as you can see the whole thing. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess the first thing I would say is, what's your definition of a mess? Is it because you wrote the chapter sloppily? Is it because there's a plot hole that needs to be fixed? Like, we could have a conversation philosophically about what mess means. But let's just say, there's some things that need to be tightened up, some characterization maybe that needs to be fixed. Maybe it's earlier in the book, and as you wrote the book later on, things kind of morphed a little bit, and so you need to go back and change a few things. Okay, we'll say that. How I go about fixing it is, what I like to do is I like to try to fix things as I go. So if you've ever watched any of my content around pantsing, I follow a technique called cycling, also known as looping, where I'll write 500 words and then I'll stop and I'll go back to that 500 words and work it. So I'll fix typos. I'll try to make the imagery a little bit more vivid, that sort of thing. And then I'll continue, and I'll do that every 500 words. And then every so often, lately, what I've been doing is, around the first quarter, I'll loop back and I'll review the first quarter. And then I get to the 50% mark, I'll loop back. And then when I get to the end of the book, I'll do what I call a final master loop, when I'll just go through everything. So the reason this works for me is because it gets me exposure to all of the different areas of my book as I'm writing it. And that works really well. But that's my personal method. But let's say, you've written your whole book and you've drafted the whole thing. How I would go back is, I would just be really careful about getting sucked into a trap. So what I used to do when I would draft my novels is I would actually set a timer, and I would say, for the next 2 hours, I'm going to work on chapters 1 through 7. And at the end of that 2 hours, I'm done. I'm not going back to it. I mean, I might fix some typos here and there, but in terms of like fixing structural things or fixing issues with characters, I would only allow myself a small amount of time, because the danger is that you can, the law of diminishing returns is what I call the danger there, is you can get sucked in. And if there's no definitive time, you could be working on, 2 or 3 chapters for weeks if you're not careful. So that's what I would do. I just try to be disciplined about how I go through revisions, because ultimately at the end of the day, I'm a big believer in trusting my inner voice, my intuition, that there's a reason I put those words on the page. Might there be an opportunity to make them a little bit more vivid? Sure. But I just try to trust myself that there was a reason, those words came down to me and I put them on the page. And so the more I can trust that, the less problems I have. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question. And let's see what has come in here. Okie dokie. Let's see. Okay, FW, I'm sending a short story out today to an editor before analog. Okay, cool. And FW learning Scrivener compile, my condolences. It's the reason I'm giving away Atticus when it comes to this. Scrivener compile is just, I suppose we're due for Scrivener 4 at some point. I don't know what the plans are, or if they're working on it, or, what the roadmap is. But, Scrivener 3 came out in 2017. So, we're coming up on 7 years. That 7 years tends to be the golden mark. And I really hope they do something with Compile. They, okay, that's the sound of me getting on my soapbox. All right. I know what they were trying to do, but it just didn't work. Okay. I'm going to stop. Michael, just stop talking. Move on to the next comment. Lou, do you say descended on the elevator or in the elevator? Descended on the elevator. Why wouldn't you? I don't know if I would say either of those. Couldn't you just say the elevator descended, or they took the elevator down, or they rode the elevator down? I don't know if that's even proper to use a preposition with elevator in that way. Or I guess maybe it's not proper to use a preposition with descended. That's a good question. That's a good question for ChatGPT. All right. So that's going to be my coy answer. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Lighty. Okay. Lighty is with me. You could just say the elevator descended. That's what I was thinking too. Okay. Let's see. Lou, I'm writing in first person. Okay. And Roland, I have no idea. This is one of those great comments that gets taken out of context. Waiting for the beep to leave a message. All right. I hope you got to leave your message. Okay, Ty, 44 this time and did some editing, 446 total. Nicely done, Ty. Black Gold Soul edited 2 chapters. And SD, feel good about the progress on the speaker packet. It should be ready by tomorrow. Awesome. Well, I'm sure your speakers will appreciate that because not all conferences send out packets. So that's awesome. And Jonathan, another test ad created. Goal is to create 7 more comparative author text ads. You're putting in some good work on your ads. Nicely done. And Lighty, 281 words this session, 729 for Power Hour total. Awesome. You know what I have not done? I have not done my collect. So I'm going to give everybody a collective air horn. Maybe. There we go. All right. And I'm going to do my beast mode growl just because I can't do a power hour without having a little bit of fun with that. Okay, I'm done. All right. Ty, feeling good. My weekend is to look into money for my fantasy world. Wondering if I should use silver or gold or a new type of finance. Going to research it a bit. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's funny the things that we have to research for our novels. Like you're researching money and Deborah was researching an old train station. Just kind of funny. Google probably gets confused with authors looking at their histories and stuff. All right, Dina, I feel motivated and will continue after this. Goal is 2 edited chapters today and tomorrow and sending beta readers more of my earlier chapters. Burning candle on both ends to meet the goal. Hey, sometimes we got to do that. Okay, FW, thank you for feedback. I think I'm going with depressing, uplifting anger, and depressing, uplifting something like that. I want to bring readers on an emotional roller coaster. Okay. Well, hey, good luck with that. And let's see, Deborah, not too many words, but I got great inspiration for the scene I'm writing at the train station. Okay, cool. All right, Shanna, writing is going good. All new doc started here. Okay. And Nowhart says, your advice reminds me of the perfectionist trap, where if you don't limit your revision, you over-revise. Over-revision is always the danger. It's a danger we don't talk enough about. As writers, we think, well, I use the collective we that doesn't really include me, but we think that the beauty of writing is in revision. And there is a lot of beauty in revision. When you write your book, there certainly is something to be said for sitting down, revising and making things a little tighter, making things a little more vivid. And, there's certainly those times where it's like, oh, wow, that's a way better word selection. I'm going to pick that word instead of this one. And it pops. And that's a beautiful thing. Right. But I think that because this life is so subjective, there's never a point where you can say you're done, and I think that's dangerous. And so we have to be careful. You have to be careful about that. All right. Because you're not going to get any feedback from readers that said, yeah, this book is overwritten, right? They're just going to put the book down and go away. You never get the feedback. That's the other dangerous part. All right, Dina, that is me and why I'm trying to change it up. Stop taking 2 weeks to finish one chapter. Yeah, Yeah, it happens. There's not a writer on the planet that I know of that has not dealt with this problem. The key is becoming aware of it. And once you become aware of it, and then once you realize that there's not necessarily a link between how much you revise your novel and how much readers will enjoy it. And even if there was, you would never know what that link is to begin with. Then it kind of sets you free a little bit. Now, I'm not saying, I don't want people to go off and misquote me and say, oh, well, Michael Laurent said, never edit my novel. No, I'm not saying that. Don't go off and say Michael Laurent said, revision sucks, don't revise. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are a lot of novels out there that readers, I'm willing to bet that there are a lot of novels out there that readers would have loved just the same, if not maybe more, if they hadn't been revised to death, right? Look at the last novel you read that you didn't like. I'm willing to bet that a high majority of the time, the reason you didn't like it is because of some decision the author made in revision. Again, that's Michael Laurent's philosophy of reading. I think revision probably damages more novels than people like to admit. So, all right. So hopefully nobody goes off and misquotes me. If somebody says that Michael says don't revise your novel, I will vehemently disagree. All right, but I think that there is a certain amount. Okay, Lou, this session I wrote 20-something words and did editing. All right. Oh, Marnie says I will try looping. Cool. Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. And now Heart, 194 words. Hey, B Matrix, May has been one of the most productive months I've had. I'm planning to continue beast mode into June. Nicely done. Well, hey, B Matrix, maybe at some point you can work up to every month being beast mode. That would be kind of cool. That's how I live my life anyway. Although sometimes I have to take a little bit of a break. Okay, Travis, it's my first time being a featured speaker for a conference, and I just finished creating the first draft of the session. I say that deserves an applause, Travis. Nicely done. Congratulations. I love speaking. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And you learn a lot. You learn a lot with that first session. If you can, I don't know, just advice that worked for me. Record your first session, and it's painful. It's excruciating. You don't want to hear yourself or see yourself, but it can really help because you can see some of the things that you do, like your quirks. Like I really realized how much I said and ah, and I made a commitment to try to stop that. And I've done okay at it, but sometimes it can be a challenge. And sometimes I have to be aware that I move my hands a lot. Like I talk with my hands, like I'm like Italian level talk with my hands. And sometimes that's a problem. Sometimes it looks really weird. So, just little things you notice about yourself that could be helpful. But congratulations. That's awesome. Marnie says Scrivener Compile is a black art. No, you're being too kind, Marnie. You're being too kind. I won't tell you how I really feel. Okay, let's see. Greblocks. If the door closes, it's in. If it's a platform elevator, it would be on. Okay, but aren't all elevators platforms, Greblocks, though? I mean, technically. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, let's see. And Dahigi had a great start to the editing process. Marnie says this power hour has made sitting at the keyboard fun. And that's what writing is all about. It should be fun. If it's not fun, you're doing it wrong. That's the only prescriptive I give in my advice. All right, Cynthia Gates, 4:30 for today's session. Nicely done. Oh, Roland. Okay, I always forget about that song. It always throws people for a loop. People think it's like my wife or something calling, and they're like, oh, what is this? No, that's just part of the music. So I love to throw that in there just to mess with people. Okay, Black Gold Soul. Hopefully I'm not breaking the rules of the Power Hour by editing. No, you're not. That's the rule of the Power Hour, is to bring whatever you want. Now, certainly I encourage everybody to write because that's how you develop a career. But if you're editing or researching, everything's good. I've had people on these Power Hours do their homework. It's all cool. Okay, and Vagrant Vagabond. I love that name. My plans to start plotting on my next story. Going to be a spying and espionage in a sci-fi setting where a scholar has to infiltrate a source of trouble. Nice. And Dina, researching 1990s Canada. SD, I love drafting my work. I don't like the revision process. Yeah, I don't know many people who do. it is a beautiful process, but there is something to be said. It's kind of like a vitamin, you can definitely overdose on it. Okay, Marnie. Funny thing with research, my novel is set in 2002, which I lived through, but I still have to do research. I can't remember about the time. Yeah. Memories just fade. All right. Dina, sometimes you need to just let the chapter go and give it to someone you know will be truthful. Yes, but you have to be careful who you pick. That's my big caution. I feel like I'm a big caution guy. I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but just make sure, you give it to somebody that's really going to give you constructive feedback, somebody that's not going to tear you down, and somebody that's not going to just cheerlead you. Like that person's got to be on your wavelength too, because giving your work to somebody to review can actually be destructive. You have to be really, really careful about who you give your book to. And I was watching a YouTube video where somebody was talking about like your inner child and like being around people that like you always consider, like in terms of who you can trust, like who would you trust your 5-year-old inner child with, in terms of how you pick people to trust and be vulnerable with. And I always think about that with my book too. Like, would I trust this person? Like if my book, and it sounds a little silly, but if my book were a child, would I trust this person with my child? All right. Okay. Thank you, Travis, for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Brilliant advice as always. Thanks for cheering us on as we celebrate for one another. So thank you again for the super chat. And let's see, Greblocks, good point on the elevators. Yeah, I suppose there are different types of elevators, but yeah, okay. But I think your advice was good. Cookie, I like it when people move when they talk. It helps me focus on the conversation. Yeah, I agree. I think there is such a thing as moving too much, though. Like I used to have this problem when I started speaking when I was in high school. I had the ping pong problem where I would start on one end of the stage and I would pace and I would go to the other end and then I would go to the other end. And I thought I was moving relatively slowly, but in reality, like people had a hard time keeping up with me. And someone recorded one of my sessions once and they're like, man, you gave me a full body workout trying to keep the camera tracked on you. And that told me everything I needed to know about what I was doing wrong. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Dina says, so true about trusting someone with the book. I've always struggled with that. Yeah, sometimes I think it's better just not to show your book to anybody until it's ready to be published. And, I've had people that have wanted me to look at their books, and I've always said no. And the reason I say it's not because I don't want to read their book. I actually do want to read their book, but who cares what I say? I'm just a random black guy that lives in Iowa. He writes books, like I'm just an opinion of one person. Like I personally don't want to say anything that would offend. No, not offend. I shouldn't say that because, I'm a pretty polite guy. I don't want to say anything that would make an author do something with their book that is contrary to their vision. Because when you give your book to somebody for constructive feedback, you're probably going to take their advice pretty, you're going to take their advice and you're probably going to take it in a lot of situations. And so for me, knowing that, I just don't want to, I just don't want to be the reason a book, makes a reader put it down, like it's more of a respect thing. Like just trust your craft. I'm happy to give feedback, but I don't want to give feedback that would be bad. And maybe some of my feedback would be good, but how do I know what would be good versus what would be bad? Ultimately, you've got to trust your craft. And that's the hardest thing to do as an author. Absolute hardest thing to do. Okay. Let's see. On feeling rubbish, all creative writers need a certain amount of time when they're creating something, and nobody should criticize them at all. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think writing is a sacred space, and you really shouldn't let anybody into your atelier. That's just my opinion. Okay, now I try to grow more independent on feedback. It is highly important for me since I've been searching for validation all my life. I think writers in general search for validation. Like there's something in our past that forces us to search for validation. Because if you think about it, you're writing a book and you're putting it out there in the world. Of course, we're all searching for validation, and I think we all have that struggle. Now, Hart. Okay, let's see. Black Gold, you inspire people, so people will hold your feedback and opinion in high esteem. And that's the problem, right? Like, I know people would take my advice, and how do I know my advice is good? I mean, ultimately it's up to the author. So Now Heart says, writing is why I'm alive. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Okay, Vagrant Vagabond, how do you go about getting the manuscript ready for printing on paperback? Well, I'm so glad you asked that. So there are two programs I would recommend. The first is, if you're a Mac user, Vellum, V as in Victor, ELLUM as in Michael. It's not cheap, but it is the best program out there for Mac users to create print-ready books. So they make it easy. You literally just load your book into Vellum, you decide how it wants to look, and it takes care of all of the technical specifications. Now, another very, very good program is Atticus. And Atticus is great for web-based. So if you've got a Mac, if you've got Linux, if you've got Windows, it doesn't matter, right? You just have to have a browser connection. And Atticus is just as good as Vellum, all right? And it's just as easy to use. And so Atticus is a little cheaper as well. All right. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want to re-put my giveaway on the screen, because I know some people are going to jump. So I'm doing a giveaway. So I'm sure all of you heard it, but I'm giving away some things. One of the things I'm giving away is a lifetime license to Atticus. I'm giving away a lifetime license to Scrivener 3 for Windows or Mac. 2 people will get Scrivener. Giving away a 45 minutes consulting session with me to one lucky person, as well as a writing productivity pack, my Beer Writing Machine 2, the Pocket Guide to Pantsing. You get the ebook and the audio edition of those books to help you carry on with future beast modes. And you also could potentially get a lifetime, or not lifetime, a 1-year gift membership to the Alliance of Independent Authors, Ally. Nonprofit organization for authors. They've got lots of discounts and deals. They've got lots of free guidebooks. One of them is written by moi, and lots of just amazing resources for their paid members, and including a directory of editors and cover designers and even formatters if you need them. So I'm doing the drawing at the end of the month, June 1st. So authorlevelup.com/roar. Put your name into the survey. And while you're doing that, you can laugh at how I can't say the word roar. Roar, roar, roar. Yeah. You know how you say a word so many times, like it loses all meaning, and I don't know what that's called. There's probably a word in German for it. But yeah, so fill out the survey, just your name, email, and then which prize you're interested in. And then I will let the winners know around June 1st if you have won, and I hope you win. And yeah. Let's see. I'll leave that on the screen for just another minute. And actually, I won't leave it on the screen because Vagrant Vagabond had a comment. I asked because I'm waiting for my publisher to get back to me on when my first book is ready for printing, so I can start sharing it for people. Okay, so Vagrant Vagabond, you lost me for a second. So if your publisher is getting back to you, then your publisher should be handling the printing. I'm just going to go back and read your first question. I just want to make sure I didn't misunderstand it. Because if you're working with a publisher, they take care of all of it. All you have to do is send them the manuscript. Now, if you're self-publishing, then you would use the programs that I talked about, Vellum and Atticus, and they would help you with all of that. But if your publisher is doing it, you should be good. Okay, authorlevelup.com/roar. All right. So, man, it's crazy. We've gotten to the end of May. Like, we've got a little bit of May left, because I think the 31st is, next Friday. But yeah, so gang, the next Power Hour is Saturday, June 1st at 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, and in the afternoon in Europe, because there's multiple time zones there, and I don't want to mess that up. All right. Yeah. Okay. Deborah says, Michael, try saying roar with a Spanish accent and roll both R's. No, I think I'd put myself in the hospital if I did that. So just kind of funny. All right. Yeah, Vagrant Vagabond says, yeah, I'm curious as to how long it takes, and I'm just impatient. Well, it shouldn't take that long. To be honest with you. I mean, I don't know how your publisher is doing it. Most publishers, I mean, I don't know the size of your publisher or anything like that, but typically publishing houses are using Adobe InDesign. That is way too much firepower for a self-published author. I mean, you can do it if you want. InDesign is a challenge. There's a lot that goes into that, and it has a big learning curve. Huge learning curve. So I don't recommend InDesign for people, although you could if you wanted to. It would give you a lot of flexibility, and there are a lot of things you can do with InDesign that you can't do with Vellum and Atticus, but it's just too much. It's just way too much. So yeah, I mean, if I were loading my book today into Vellum, give me a good hour and I could get it right. Honestly, I could probably do it in like 30 minutes. Because they let you set up templates, and they make it really easy for you to import your entire book, and you can change your chapter headings and the designs and everything like that, with the click of a button. Doesn't take very long at all. So, I don't know. I don't know if that puts your publisher on blast, but it really shouldn't take that long. Vagrant Vagabond. So, Marnie says, or in Welsh, roar. Yeah, I don't know how to say that. So, awesome. Okay. Well, gang, I think we are at the end of the road here. Congratulations on an amazing Beast Mode month. Don't forget about the survey prize giveaway. And I'll see you guys next Saturday. And yeah, hope you have an amazing weekend. Take care.